Have you ever felt entrapped by your own desires, pulled by an invisible force that seems impossible to resist? In the vast expanse of human existence, it's a common struggle, this feeling of being overwhelmed by sexual desires. It's like a torrential river, its currents strong, sweeping you off your feet and pulling you into the depths. It can become an addiction, a relentless force that, if left unchecked, can interfere with the harmony of daily life, the quality of relationships, and the journey of personal growth. This is not a solitary battle. It's a universal issue, one that affects people from all walks of life. From the humble man on the street to the highest echelons of power, no one is immune to the pull of these desires. They are part of our human nature, but they can also become our chains. But what if we told you there was a way out? A method to regain control and find balance? It all starts in the mind, the battlefield where desires and discipline clash. Picture two armies, one of desire, the other of discipline, locked in a constant tug-of-war. Desire is not the enemy, it's a natural part of being human. But when desire overpowers discipline, that's when the trouble starts. Enter mindfulness, the art of staying grounded in the present moment. It's like the general overseeing the battlefield. With mindfulness, we're not trying to defeat or suppress our desires. Instead, we're learning to understand them, to recognize their presence without letting them take over. Think of it as a game of chess. Mindfulness is the player, making calculated moves, while desires are the pieces on the board. The player doesn't eliminate pieces, they strategically maneuver them. In this grand game within our minds, we can become masters of our desires, rather than being slaves to them. And who better to learn from than the master of mindfulness, Buddha himself? Imagine Buddha in his serene tranquility, being visited by a beautiful prostitute. Picture a scene where tranquility meets temptation, where inner peace comes face to face with external allure. This was the situation Buddha found himself in, an unexpected encounter with a woman of the night. She was stunning, her beauty unparalleled, her charm irresistible to most. Yet she was a prostitute, a woman who traded her beauty for survival. Intrigued by the calm and composed Buddha, she decided to approach him. Her mission was simple, to seduce him, to shatter his tranquility with the power of lust. She moved with a seductive grace, every step designed to enchant, every glance meant to entice. She tried every trick in her book, every seductive gesture, every alluring smile. Yet, Buddha remained unmoved. His serene tranquility remained intact, his composure undisturbed. It was as if he was a mountain, unmoving and unaffected by the storm of seduction that raged around him. The suspense was palpable. Everyone wondered, how would Buddha react? Would he succumb to the temptation, or would he remain steadfast in his tranquility? The prostitute, too, was puzzled. Never before had she encountered a man so unmoved by her charms. Then, Buddha did something unexpected. He looked at her, not with lust, but with compassion. He spoke not of desire, but of respect. His response was not one of rejection, but of understanding. He saw her not as a prostitute, but as a human being, a woman with her own struggles and dreams. Buddha's reaction was a testament to his mastery over his mind and body. It was a demonstration of his ability to see beyond the surface, to acknowledge the human being behind the label of prostitute. But how did Buddha manage to remain unaffected? What was his secret? Stay tuned as we delve deeper into Buddha's wisdom in the next scene. The secret lies not in suppression, but in understanding. That was the profound lesson Buddha imparted to the prostitute. He explained that his mind was akin to a still lake, serene and undisturbed despite the ripples of desires that came its way. His secret: mindfulness. Mindfulness, in essence, is the art of observing one's desires without getting swept away in their current. It's about acknowledging the sensations, emotions, and thoughts that arise within us, yet remaining detached. It's about not being a puppet to our desires, but instead being the puppeteer. Consider an example. You're walking down a street and you see your favorite cake in a bakery window. Your mouth waters, your stomach grumbles, and your mind begins to fantasize about the taste. But instead of immediately succumbing to your desire, you take a moment to observe it. You notice the physical sensations, the anticipation, the longing. You acknowledge the desire, but you don't let it control you. That is mindfulness. Buddha's wisdom sheds light on a novel way of managing sexual desires. Instead of suppressing them or feeling guilty about them, we can observe them, understand them, and thus, master them. This is not to say that we should shun these desires. They are a natural part of the human experience. But by understanding them, we can ensure they don't dictate our actions. This tale of Buddha and the prostitute is not just a story. It's a metaphor for the struggle each one of us faces. We all grapple with desires, whether they are related to food, money, power, or sex. And often we find ourselves at war with them. But what if instead of fighting, we try understanding? What if instead of being slaves to our desires, we become their masters? As Buddha showed, it's possible to control our desires, not by fighting them, but by understanding them. It's a journey of self-discovery and mindfulness. Are you ready to start yours? It might not be easy, but it is certainly worth it. After all, the path to freedom is paved with understanding, not suppression.